The investigators' discovery the assignment seemed straightforward enough. Profile: Vikram Kapoor, founder of Nexus Technologies, darling of the Mumbai business elite, and newly minted billionaire. Prisha Sharma adjusted her glasses and scrolled through her notes. At 32, she'd built a reputation at the National Chronicle for thorough investigative journalism, not puff pieces about tech moguls. "This isn't negotiable," her editor had said. "Kapoor rarely gives interviews. This is exclusive access." The Nexus headquarters occupied a gleaming tower in the financial district. Prisha was escorted through security to a waiting area designed like a museum gallery, displaying the company's evolution from startup to tech giant. Their signature product, an AI-powered data management system, had revolutionized supply chain efficiency across Asia. Ms. Sharma, Vikram Kapoor appeared, hand extended. He was younger than she expected, perhaps 40, with calculating eyes that contradicted his easy smile. "Welcome to Nexus." The interview proceeded smoothly. Kapoor was articulate, thoughtful, and surprisingly forthcoming about his humble beginnings. Born to middle-class parents, education had been his lifeline. The narrative was perfect to perfect. "You've had remarkable growth in your overseas operations," Prisha noted, "particularly in data processing centers." Something flickered across Kapoor's face. "Efficiency is our core value." Later, Prisha was given a guided tour. During a bathroom break, she took a wrong turn and found herself in an unmarked corridor. A security badge left on a counter caught her attention. Impulsively, she pocketed it. That night, Prisha returned. The badge worked. Inside a restricted server room, she downloaded files onto a drive. What she found at home sent chills through her spine. Financial reports showed massive discrepancies. Buried within technical specifications were alarming labor practices at overseas facilities. Children as young as 12 working 16-hour shifts processing data. Digging deeper, Prisha contacted former employees. One agreed to meet Deepak Mehta, former operations director, at a quiet cafe. Deepak spoke in hushed tones. "The processing centers in rural provinces aren't just exploitative, they're illegal. Children are preferred because their fingerprints are easier to manipulate for biometric bypassing. When I objected, I was terminated with extreme prejudice. Why hasn't this come to light? Money silences effectively. Journalists who've tried mysteriously lose their jobs. Evidence vanishes." Prisha published nothing yet. Instead, she confronted Kapoor directly, recording their conversation. His office view overlooked the city. "I hoped we understood each other," he said, examining her notes. "What exactly do you think you've discovered? Child labor, data theft, systematic exploitation?" Kapoor's smile disappeared. "Serious accusations require serious evidence, which I have." He closed his laptop. "Prisha, success requires sacrifice. The West outsourced their dirty work for decades. I simply perfected the model. Those children, they'd be in worse conditions otherwise." "That doesn't justify." "Let me be transparent," he interrupted. "I can make you wealthy beyond imagination, or I can ensure you never work again." He slid a contract across the desk, a simple non-disclosure agreement. Prisha stood. "I'll publish everything." Kapoor's expression hardened. "Then you'll disappear." Walking out, Prisha didn't realize how literal his threat would prove. By morning, her press credentials were revoked. By evening, her apartment was ransacked, hard drives missing, and within a week Prisha Sharma would cease to exist in any official capacity, her bylines erased. Social media accounts vanished, and employment records altered. The silencing had begun. The vanishing Prisha awoke to the harsh buzz of her phone. It was Navin, her colleague at the National Chronicle. "Prisha, where are you? Ramani wants to see you immediately." Walking into the newsroom, she sensed something was wrong. Conversations halted as she passed. Inside the editor-in-chief's office, Ramani wasn't alone. A stern-faced woman in a business suit sat beside him. "This is Ms. Gupta from Legal," Ramani said, not meeting Prisha's eyes. "There's been a complaint." Ms. Gupta slid a document across the desk. "Nexus Technologies has filed charges of corporate espionage, theft of proprietary information, and trespassing." "That's absurd," Prisha protested. "I was investigating criminal activity. Your press credentials have been suspended pending investigation." Ramani interrupted. "I'm sorry, but you're terminated effective immediately." Security escorted her out. Prisha's belongings were delivered in a box, her investigation notes conspicuously absent. At home, she tried logging into her work email. Access denied. Her personal accounts were similarly locked. When she called the IT department, they claimed no record of her employment existed. Panicking, Prisha opened her laptop to back up her research. The screen displayed only an error message. Hard drive failure. Her backup drive was missing from her ransacked apartment. She called Deepak, her whistleblower source. The number was disconnected. By evening, Prisha's bank cards were declined. Her landlord called with strange news. According to his records, she had terminated her lease yesterday. When she checked online news archives, her bylines had been replaced with staff reporter. "This is impossible," she whispered. Hand shaking, she tried calling her parents in Kolkata, but the call wouldn't connect. In desperation, she reached out to her college friend Zara, who worked at a cybersecurity firm. They met at an obscure cafe far from the financial district. Zara's expression was grim as she showed Prisha her findings. Someone with serious resources is systematically erasing you, she explained. Your digital footprint is being scrubbed in real time. Social media, professional records, banking history. It's as if you never existed. How is this possible? With enough money and the right connections, entirely possible. Nexus specializes in data management. Remember, they're using their own technology against you. Prisha's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Final warning, walk away. That night, 2 men broke into her apartment. Prisha escaped through the fire exit with only her backpack containing the original evidence files, a change of clothes, and what little cash she had. For weeks, she moved between budget hotels, paying cash. Every digital trail led to dead ends. Former colleagues suddenly couldn't remember her. The story she'd been investigating vanished from editorial records. Even her journalism school had no record of her graduation. One afternoon, browsing anonymously at an internet cafe, Prisha discovered a job listing in her name in Singapore. Someone was creating a false history, making it appear she'd left the country voluntarily. Her bank accounts remained frozen. Her press credentials were invalidated. Her reputation was systematically dismantled through strategic rumors of fabricated stories and unethical practices. In a final devastating blow, a small obituary appeared in a regional newspaper, reporting that Prisya Sharma had died in a car accident outside Bangalore, complete with a funeral notice. Legally dead, professionally disgraced, and financially ruined, Prisha sat in a dingy hostel room, staring at the wall. Everything she'd built was gone. The evidence she'd gathered seemed useless without a platform. Then her burner phone rang. A woman's voice, unfamiliar but confident. Miss Sharma, my name is Leela Desai. I run an NGO focused on corporate accountability. I believe you're in danger, and I believe your story. We can help, but you need to disappear for real this time. Why would you help me? Because you're not the first person Vikram Kapoor has tried to erase. But with your help, you might be the last. For the first time in weeks, Prisha felt a flicker of hope. She'd lost her identity, but perhaps that freedom from existence was exactly what she needed to fight back. Where do we start? She asked. First, Prisha Sharma needs to stay dead, at least until we're ready. The hidden path safe house was tucked away in the outskirts of Pune, a modest two-bedroom apartment above a textile shop. Leela Desai unlocked the door and gestured Prisha inside. Welcome to your new home and your new life. Prisha stepped into the sparsely furnished space, a desk with a computer, bookshelves, a whiteboard covered with notes and connections. Who are you really? Prisha asked. Leela's expression tightened. I was chief legal counsel for Nexus Technologies 5 years ago. I discovered financial irregularities connected to their international operations. When I raised concerns internally, She shrugged. Let's just say we have similar stories. Another woman emerged from the kitchen, Ria Matha, early 30s, with quick eyes and a perpetual half-smile. Our digital security specialist, Leila explained. Former employee at Nexus as well. And current pain in Kapoor's perfectly tailored ass, Ria added. We've been building a case against him for 3 years. That evening, over simple dal and rice, they explained the operation. Their organization, Phoenix Protocol, had been documenting Nexus's activities through a network of former employees and affected families. Prisha's evidence was the missing piece. Direct proof linking Kapoor to the exploitation. We need more, Leela said. Not just documents, but testimonies, faces, stories that can't be dismissed. We need more, Leela said. Not just documents, but testimonies, faces, stories that can't be dismissed. For the next 18 months, Prisha lived as Anika Roy, a freelance content writer working remotely. Her natural journalist instincts served her well as she carefully built relationships with other former Nexus employees. Gathering testimonies under the guise of company research, Ria taught her digital counterintelligence how to communicate securely, cover digital tracks, and avoid facial recognition systems that might flag her presumed dead status. They worked with burner phones, encrypted messages, and cash transactions. The breakthrough came 6 months in, when they located Deepak Mehta, Prisha's original whistleblower, working as a night manager at a small hotel in Goa under a different name. They threatened my family, he explained when Prisha cautiously approached him. I had to disappear. We all did, Prisha replied. But now we're reappearing on our terms. With Deepak's help, they connected with families in rural Bihar whose children had been recruited by Nexus subcontractors, using disguised equipment. Prisha conducted interviews, documenting stories of 12-hour shifts, withheld wages, and health issues from prolonged screen exposure. One mother's testimony struck particularly deep. They said my daughter would be learning computers for a good job. Instead, she lost her childhood to their machines. Meanwhile, Ria worked her technical magic, bypassing security to obtain internal communications proving Kapoor knew about the exploitation. Leela developed legal strategies, connecting with international human rights organizations willing to apply pressure. We're building more than a case, Leela explained one night. We're creating a narrative impossible to erase. Prisha began shaping their findings into a documentary, not just an expose of corporate crimes, but a meta-narrative about systematic silencing, how power erased truth and people with equal efficiency. The work wasn't without close calls. A Phoenix Protocol member was identified in Mumbai, leading to a hasty evacuation of their Pune location. Surveillance drones appeared near interview sites. Anonymous threats reached their secure channels. During a particularly tense week, Prisha questioned everything. Are we making any difference? They have billions of rupees, political connections, and control over information systems. We have. What exactly? Layla placed a hand on her shoulder. We have the truth, and something they don't expect: patience. 14 months into her hidden life, Prisha accompanied Ria to a remote village where they'd identified 20 former child workers. As they recorded testimonies, a local contact burst in with a warning: company men in the village, asking questions. They escaped through back roads, evidence secured. That night, huddled in a temporary safe house, Ria turned to Prisha with unexpected intensity. You know, we can't just release this through normal channels, right? They'll block it, discredit it, erase it just like they erased you. Then what's the point of all this? Prisha asked, exhaustion evident in her voice. Because we're not just gathering evidence, Ria replied, opening her laptop to reveal a complex distribution system. We're building a digital phoenix, something that can't be killed because it exists everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Prisha understood then. Their documentary wouldn't have a single premiere easily blocked or a central server easily hacked. It would emerge simultaneously across platforms, countries, and formats, unstoppable because it was everywhere. As month 18 approached, their work neared completion. Prisha sat editing the final cut, now titled Digital Ghosts. On screen, a young girl spoke directly to the camera. They told us we didn't matter, that no one would ever know, that no one would believe us. But someone did. Prisha looked up as Layla entered with determination in her eyes. It's time, she said. We release in 1 week. The revelation: the distribution plan was elegant in its simplicity and overwhelming in its scale. Digital Ghosts would emerge simultaneously across 27 countries, translated into 14 languages, through a decentralized network impossible to shut down completely. Like a hydra, Ria explained during their final briefing. Cut off one head, 2 more appear. The night before release, Prisha couldn't sleep. She stood at the window of their current safe house, a modest apartment in Chennai, watching the city lights below. Second thoughts? Layla asked, joining her. No, just, after all this time being invisible, it's strange to think of being seen again. The documentary launched at precisely 10 a.m. IST. Within hours, #Digital Ghosts was trending across social platforms. By afternoon, international news outlets had picked up the story. The film began with a simple statement: this is the story of what happens when power attempts to erase truth. What followed was a meticulously crafted narrative, interweaving corporate exploitation with the systematic silencing of those who spoke against it. Former employees provided testimony. Financial records showed deliberate fraud. Families described children returned broken from Nexus facilities. Most powerfully, the film documented Prisha's own erasure, complete with recovered security footage of her apartment being ransacked, technical analysis of how her digital identity was dismantled, and testimony from former colleagues pressured to forget her. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Nexus Technologies' stock dropped 17% in a single day. International clients suspended contracts pending investigation. Human rights organizations filed formal complaints in multiple jurisdictions. Vikram Kapoor's response came swiftly: a press release dismissing the allegations as fabrications from disgruntled former employees, and the documentary as technically manipulated disinformation. His legal team moved to have the content removed, but the decentralized distribution made complete suppression impossible. 3 days after release, Prisha sat in a secure location for her first live interview, face obscured, voice modulated with an international news network. What made you risk everything to tell this story? The interviewer asked. When someone powerful enough believes they can erase people, silence becomes complicity, Prisha responded. The most dangerous thing wasn't what they did to me, it was that they believed they could do it without consequences. By week's end, former victims emerged globally, creating a wave too powerful to suppress. Government investigations were announced in 7 countries. Tech industry insiders began revealing similar practices at other companies. Then came the most unexpected development: a message from Vikram Kapoor's executive assistant, requesting a secure meeting with Prisha against Leela's advice. Prisha agreed with extensive security precautions. They met in a neutral location, both sides bringing verification of safety measures. He's desperate, the assistant said, sliding a tablet across the table. He's offering complete immunity, financial compensation, and public apology if you'll agree to certain narrative adjustments. On screen was a contract offering 20 crore and comprehensive legal protection in exchange for mutual narrative alignment. Prisha didn't even touch the tablet. You still don't understand. This was never about money. That evening, as the team monitored the continuing global response, Ria burst in with news. Internal leaked communications. Kapoor is planning to flee the country tomorrow. Private jet to a non-extradition territory. Forward everything to the authorities, Leela instructed. All channels. Within hours, police raided Nexus headquarters. Financial records were seized. Senior executives were brought in for questioning, and at a private airfield, Vikram Kapoor was detained while boarding his aircraft. That as dawn broke the following day, Prisya stepped onto the balcony, breathing deeply. For the first time in nearly 2 years, she used her real phone to call her parents. Beta, her mother's voice cracked with emotion. Is it really you? Yes, Ma. I'm alive, and I'm coming home. The reckoning. The courtroom was silent as Prisha Sharma took the witness stand. 6 months after digital ghosts shook the corporate world, the formal proceedings against Vikram Kapoor and Nexus Technologies had finally begun. Please state your name for the record, the prosecutor requested. Prisha Sharma. 3 simple syllables that had once been systematically erased from existence now echoed through international media. Outside supporters held signs reading "Truth cannot be deleted and remember her name." Over 3 days of testimony, Prisya methodically recounted her investigation, the subsequent erasure campaign, and the 18 months spent gathering evidence while legally dead. Her calm precision contrasted sharply with Kapoor's increasingly agitated demeanor across the courtroom. On the final day of her testimony, Kapoor's defense attempted to undermine her credibility. Ms. Sharma, isn't it true that you illegally accessed Nexus systems? The defense counsel asked. I used a security badge left in a public area to access evidence of criminal activity after exhausting all legitimate channels, she responded. When powerful entities control the legitimate channels, sometimes the only ethical path forward is through technically prohibited means. The case expanded beyond Kapoor himself. Investigations revealed government officials who had been bribed, media executives who had suppressed stories, and technology specialists who had facilitated digital erasure. What had begun as one woman's fight became a global conversation about corporate accountability and digital rights. While the legal proceedings continued, Prisha established the Truth Resilience Foundation with the unexpected support of ethical investors and tech industry reformers. The foundation provided legal and security support to whistleblowers, developed technologies to protect digital identities from erasure, and advocated for legislative reform. The ability to erase someone shouldn't exist, she explained during the foundation's launch. In a just society, truth should be resilient by design, not by heroic effort. Former victims found healing through collective action. The children from rural villages received educational scholarships and medical treatment. Systems were established to monitor supply chains for similar exploitation. Companies worldwide began implementing transparency by default policies. 1 year after Digital Ghosts premiered, Prisha stood on stage at the International Press Freedom Awards, accepting recognition for investigative excellence. The standing ovation lasted nearly 5 minutes. Silence and erasure are tools of oppression, she said in her acceptance speech. But silence can be broken, and what has been erased can be rewritten. In the audience, Layla and Ria watched with quiet pride. Their Phoenix protocol had expanded, working on similar cases globally. Next to them sat Deepak Mehta, now heading corporate ethics at a reformed Nexus Technologies under new leadership. The final judgment against Vikram Kapoor came 2 years after Prisha's original investigation. Guilty on all counts, financial penalties, corporate restructuring, and a prison sentence that acknowledged both the exploitation and the systematic campaign to silence those who exposed it. On the day of sentencing, Prisha visited Kapoor in custody not for reconciliation, but for closure. You said you would make me disappear, she reminded him. Instead, you made me unforgettable. His once confident demeanor had crumbled. You've destroyed everything I built. No, she corrected him. I revealed what you actually built. There's a difference. Walking away from that final encounter, Prisha felt the weight of the past 3 years lifting. That evening, she met with her team to discuss their next investigation. Another powerful entity, another pattern of abuse and silencing. Are you sure you're ready for another fight? Layla asked. You could take time, write a book, give lectures. Prisha smiled. When you've experienced erasure, you develop a certain clarity about what matters. The world is full of silenced voices waiting to be amplified. As they planned their approach, Prisha's phone buzzed with a news alert. A legislative bill inspired by her case had just passed, establishing new protections for digital identity and whistleblower rights. The law's informal name, the Sharma Protocol. She showed the screen to her colleagues, a quiet smile spreading across her face. They tried to delete my name from history. Now it's literally written into law. The path forward wouldn't be easy. Other powerful entities would resist transparency, attempt to silence truth-tellers, and try to control narratives. But something fundamental had shifted in the landscape of power. In a world of digital ghosts and erased identities, Prisya Sharma had become indelible not just as an individual, but as a principle that resonated across borders and systems. Truth, once truly seen, cannot be unseen, and those who dare to show it cannot be erased.